Foreplay presented by Barstool Sports. We have a very special show right now. We are with 2008 Masters winner in his home, in his bar, Mahogany Room. Is that what this is right now?
I don't know what I would call this, but it's great to have you guys here.
Whatever it is, it's beautiful. This whole entire house, this room specifically, it's all beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everything about this room made me drink a whiskey.
Yeah, it kind of funnels you that way. You don't
have
really have
to.
much of a choice.
May as well, or why not?
So I was thinking on the plane here, actually, I was like, I'm gonna sit in this guy's home. I'm gonna introduce him as the Masters champion. And I was thinking that I don't know if there's a cooler way for me as a person to imagine being introduced than Masters champion.
It does feel pretty good. I'm not going to lie.
It has to.
It feels pretty good. You definitely don't get old. It doesn't get old, you know? You don't get tired of it.
Yeah, I was thinking like former president of the United States. I think I'd rather be introduced as a Masters champion.
Well, that would be an interesting one. I think that would be pretty cool to be introduced as the president of the United States.
No, maybe when you're the president,
As you're
the power
stepping off
trip,
of Air Force One.
But because that's the ultimate entrance that people make. But in terms of just that, there's a lot that comes with that. There's a lot of negative that comes with that. It's hard. It's almost impossible to actually get that job and do that job. Whereas being just a Masters champion that comes with such pedigree, it's like, holy shit, this guy
Universally
won the
loved.
Masters.
No one can hate a Masters champion.
You'll be surprised.
By the way,
surprised,
for those
Frankie.
who don't know, I feel like we might be holding some people in suspense. It's Trevor Immelman.
Did we not even say his name?
don't think so.
All right, we're with
Can
Trevor
I do some
Immelman.
ASMR about with my ice cube?
Yeah, how's that sound? Do you guys do anything special to get the big ice cubes? You have any like special techniques?
We have big ice cube holders.
That's it.
What's it
Yeah,
called again? What's
that's
this
it.
called again?
The drink?
No, you called the ice cube something.
I called it a big ice cube.
We're quite.
Did I call it
sophisticated.
something else?
You didn't say the word sphere or something like that? No? Am I making that up?
No, you're making that up. You've always got space on the brain.
I do always have space on the brain. Did you see what just happened the other day, guys?
Oh, boy.
Did you see that volcano that erupted in the
Oh, I
videos?
saw that.
Yes.
The videos from space and how just fragile of a universe we're in. It's unbelievable when you see the planet, how it can erupt and that. What's the wavelengths that just went across? What's the word?
Shockwave?
The shock waves that just went across the Earth. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we're pretty inconsequential.
That's a good way to put it.
We live on this planet, this blue little marble, and we worry about all this bullshit. Meanwhile, we should just be out there winning Masters, having fun, taking in life, looking at the nice sun here in Florida. Instead, I'm always like looking at the negative shit. And then volcanoes erupt. They send these freaking shockwaves across the earth, and we could just get wiped out like that.
So
you know?
Isn't Florida good? He's told me multiple times, hates Florida and never comes here. So
gotta
good
say-
to have you in my state here.
Well, look,
Riggs.
if you're doing it like you're doing it, obviously I'm gonna love this place. I mean, we're
This house is insane.
one of the nicest homes I've ever
I'm
witnessed.
about to close on a house on Long Island. I told these guys when I walked in, I close on like Friday.
Hey,
when I get
congrats.
back. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I think I'm going to cancel it.
Well, this is for sale if you want
Well,
it.
listen, it's going to take me a couple of years to afford that driveway you have out front. But no, I think I'm going to cancel it. I already sent a text message saying we can't do what we're doing. This is a house.
Florida, baby.
This is a home.
there's obviously I can have fun in Florida, but the second our plane even landed, I just felt like I was sweating already. I don't love the humidity.
Today was like the coldest day we'll probably have all
And
year.
again, it still just feels like a little humid. It's just not for me. It's not my favorite. There have been some beautiful times that I've had in Florida, and I do like Orlando. It's one of the weirder places I've ever been, I think, in general. It's like theme parky, and it's just kind of that sort of seeps through
Yeah,
everything
it's a
that's
bit,
in
it's a bit
Orlando.
all over the place.
But I kinda like
Eclectic
that.
is the word that we would like to use.
Okay, yeah. But I kind of like that. I dig that. You've been here for a while. We were talking about that before. 20 years?
Yeah, almost 20 years now. Came over in the early 2000s. I was just 21, 22 years old and playing on the European tour. And my dream had always been to get to the PGA Tour somehow. And I'd just gotten inside the top 50 in the world. So was starting to get into some tournaments here. And so my wife and I weren't married yet, but we were together and decided that we would get a place here so that I could come and practice and get used to it. And then the tournaments I was playing in and around the majors, we would have a base. So Ernie Els was living at Lake Nona and a bunch of other people that I knew at the time. So I was like, well, that's the place. Easy to travel from. It's right near the airport at Orlando International. It was easy to get to and from Europe. So that's where we set roots. And then a few years later, had kids. And once kids start school, it's tough to move. Once they've
locked
made
in.
their friends and they've got their life set, they don't want to go anywhere. They just have a blast. And
Ernie's still one of your closest boys, right?
I was just with him about a month ago. He had a golf day down in West Palm Beach. Part of that autism awareness he does, and golf days trying to make money for the charity. And we had a great day down there. A bunch of cool guys showed up. John Daly was there, and VJ was there, and a bunch of cool players, old school players, Faxon, guys like that. And so that was really cool.
How many conversations have you and Ernie had just about the game of golf and going in deep? You learned a lot from that guy?
Oh, yeah. A lot. I've known him. First time I ever met him, actually, in South Africa, he's our Tiger Woods, right?
Right.
So when he was 16, 17 years old, he was already famous in South Africa for being that good at golf. He was a phenom. And he was going to be the next Gary Player. And he was coming to play an amateur golf tournament at my home club, Somerset West Country Club. And I was 5 or 6 years old, just started golf. And actually, no, I was probably 7. I was probably 7 because this is late 80s. And heard that he was coming. And dude, didn't go to school for the week. I was his shadow. You ask him about it now, he still remembers. I was his shadow. I was never more than 2 or 3 steps from him the whole week.
It's like, leave me alone, kid.
Just watched every shot he hit. And, you know, he was just so great. Just humored me the whole week, would give me all of his golf balls when he was done with them, and he would talk to me. And he actually ended up losing the tournament in a playoff, which I was distraught that he didn't win this tournament, right? And so that was the first time I met him and got to know him. And then a few years later, as I was coming through the junior ranks, I played in and won his junior tournament. So I'm like 13 now. And so we meet again and kind of put all that together. And then the year or two after that, I was coming over here to play AJGA events, and he would let me stay in his house at Nona, and he would, you know, help me out with whatever I needed, give me any kind of advice. And so that relationship has just grown from there. I mean, I see him as like a older brother, really.
Yeah, and then all the way to, I mean, in 2019 in Melbourne, you know, you guys were captaining, co-captaining. Oh, the dogs. We knew the dogs. This is a dog-friendly podcast.
That's Max.
Absolutely.
That's Max.
Yeah.
That's Max?
He gets very angry when somebody rings the buzzer at the gate.
Is that Lurch?
That's definitely Lurch. That has to be.
Lurch is 45 minutes late to the podcast.
So we did know this was going to happen, and we decided to just start because we don't want to take up all Trevor Ehrman's night.
I'll text my son, tell him to open the gate
No
for
respect
Lurch.
for Ben, from Ben.
We knew Lurch was going to come in here like a bowling ball.
I didn't know it was going to be that loud, that he's got the dogs barking.
He hasn't even walked
literally.
through the door either.
So it's going to be a scene when he arrives.
This
An
is a
absolute
dog-friendly
scene.
podcast, though. I every time I hang out with dogs, because I don't have a dog in New York City, it's just impossible. I don't have nearly enough dogs in my life. So seeing those 2 beautiful dogs that Trevor has really made my whole day.
Therapeutic.
They're great dogs. They're great dogs. We love dogs. Max is the first dog we ever had. He is 8 now. Just the best. George is only 3, so we only got her a little while back, but just the best.
They ever
Love
come
them.
out to the golf course?
No, they're too
Much.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always
crazy.
jealous. Some people, you see some people that can get out there
And the
walk
dog sits on the seat next to them.
amazing.
Oh.
Amazing.
Just sits there all day, chilled.
It's like such a bond right there.
If these 2 dogs get like a whiff of a squirrel, it's over.
Oh wow.
I mean, it's over.
There's probably not any squirrels down here.
They're afraid of coming into our property now since these 2 have been around.
Just have to be. Have to be. So President's Cup, you're the captain this year. It's been weird with the pandemic and postponing everything, but we were chatting before we came on the show. You had Cameron Smith, you got Hideki Matsuyama, last 2 winners on tour. How you feeling, about your team? You got the logo, which
Yeah, how do you like that?
It's a
I
good
know we
logo.
talked a good amount about the logo last time. You've sent me some stuff, which puts me in a weird place because I'm already coming off a Ryder
Yeah,
Cup.
but
where I
you
was on the
supported
wrong
Europe in
side.
the Ryder Cup,
That's
so
what I
you
mean.
can
So now you're
easily swing to our
answering
team.
me into like
Right.
a tough,
Mr.
Yeah.
Contrarian. Just start
Just-
wearing all
yeah.
that stuff.
tough.
I mean, you're going to
position.
get Frankie and Trent angry all over
I
again.
know. I've calmed down.
That was,
All
I'll be
over
honest,
again.
that was a tough time for the podcast. That was a tough era.
Yeah, it was a dark time
comes
for the
Max.
podcast. I think that. There's Lurch.
There it is.
It is Lurch. What's happening?
Wrecking
knew
ball.
Hey, buddy. Yep.
How was the drive?
2 hours. It's a full 2 from Vero Beach is where I was coming from.
Nobody can hear you. You have to get in front of
No,
a
I think the
microphone.
mics are picking it up.
You think
His
so?
voice, you can pick it up from Vero
Guarantee
Beach.
it.
The baritone one. We got a chair for you right there. You can
Pull
pull
the
that
chair
puppy
in.
right on up. It's got a cool master's pillow on it.
What, right here? With these guys? No, or over there.
No, you're right there, right behind Trevor.
All right.
Does that work for visuals? Hey, Max. So the big guy's in. So you're
Great to see you. Welcome. Welcome.
hey, Lurch, how was
Glad
the
you
drive?
survived. Did you come up the turnpike or the 95?
That's a great question.
No clue?
That's a question I couldn't even answer.
You just made
Just
it, which
said,
is
hey,
great.
Uber, I need to
followed-
get from here to there, and didn't look up again. But there's not much going on. What do you want? Yeah?
You
Jake
Ubered?
Bass
How-
has just helped me out.
So you
Yeah,
Ubered
just-
from where?
You took
Vero.
a 2-hour Uber?
Listen, fellas, your laundry deserves better. You guys think that's true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you put any real effort or thought into your laundry?
No.
No, and then when you
Soap?
don't put any effort into your laundry, you feel it right after. Things
Yeah.
are wrinkled.
Feel it
they
for
don't-
the
Think
next
about
2
when your
weeks.
mom does it, how much better your
Oh
laundry
my
is.
Gosh.
Meet Laundry Sauce, the world's first designer laundry detergent made specifically for the lads, as they say. At laundrysauce.com, you'll discover a better way to muck your laundry. Laundry Sauce's premium, simple to use laundry pods are made with bold fragrances that will have you smelling like a beauty and feeling like a man rocket.
I'd like to feel that way.
Right. That's an unfamiliar feeling.
I will say, the way this camera's looking at me, I don't think I look like a man rocket right
Yeah,
now.
but I think if we got some of this, what is it, laundry sauce?
We'll cut that visual alert.
Laundry sauce? I like it. I need help.
Soulful scents like Australian sandalwood give your laundry an exotic blend of deep amber and smooth suede. They got Siberian pine. Oh, baby.
There's good words out there.
You look like you're about to struggle with this next
Amber.
one.
No, I just was really excited about Siberian pine.
Okay.
Anyways, every order of laundry sauce comes with 69 premium pods per box.
It's good.
I mean,
Sexual.
A lot of numbers out there.
69 per box is good.
If you want to
pretty
start
phenomenal.
buzzing out there, then scale up your laundry game by going to laundrysauce.com. You and your wrench are going to be smelling like a million bucks.
Jesus.
What?
This is a sexual ad.
No, it
What
says
company is this? What are we talking about?
laundry sauce.
Laundry
69
sauce.
69 different
I'm going to
flavors.
serve some laundry
Our wrench is going
sauce
to
up.
smell good.
You get 69 things per box.
I'll be honest,
And it's going to make my wrench smell great.
I'll be honest, I'm in.
I will say this is kind of an ad read for us and Spit and Chicklets. I think they really cater to the Chicklets crowd on this one.
Yeah, I don't know if I can consider what I have a wrench. It's more of like
No.
the tip of a
My buddy used to say, let me
Phillips
see.
head?
Phillips head.
Phillips
Flathead.
head?
You got a flathead or a Phillips?
I think it's one of those.
I
Little,
think you want
know,
a
like
Phillips.
you know the mini Phillips that
You're just
go
talking
for-
about a small screwdriver,
You know the
not
mini
so much
ones
the
that
head.
you use on your glasses.
Right. You're trying to get a watch battery out.
Walking around your house, you're like, I know I saw one of those mini screwdrivers somewhere. You know the real thin ones that just
Yes.
barely you could make yourself bleed on them.
Ooh.
All right.
So
I want
yeah,
that to smell nice.
if you're not enticed yet, then go to laundrysauce.com.
So I surprised my mom. Shout out being a good son. So when I figured out we were coming down here for the week, I was like, you know
Your
what?
mommy.
I'll go say hi to my mom.
Okay.
That's right. And so, anyways, I went down there, saw her for a day and a half, and then came here.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty good.
Big man's gotta catch his breath right now.
Who, me?
Yeah, that was a lot walking in, right?
No, but it was, I will say.
Hell of an entrance.
I mean, it's a hell of a house, too. So, show up with an Uber. And then
guys.
I didn't know what to say. And then you have to, obviously hit the button. And I'm like, no. And then I'm like, what do I give this that they'll even know that this is acceptable? So then I have to tell the Uber, I'm like, hey, it's Lurch from Foreplay. And he looks back at me being like, now what the hell is going on inside that house?
I will say Jake Bass went through that too. He was driving our car when we came in. Place is well protected, so good work
Beautiful.
with that. Well protected, beautiful home. And Jake Bass hit him with and I think it was you that was on
Yeah, it
the
was me.
intercom. You're like, hello, and Jake's like, hey, my name's Jake Bass. I work for Barstool Sports. I have rigs in the car. This is what he's
And I was like,
What
go
kind of
away.
effort is that?
There's one person who's not equipped to handle that situation, and it's Jake Bass. He needed to be in the second car. We needed to be the lead car.
Hello, sir. This is
incredible.
Jake Bass from Barstool Sports. I have rigs in the car.
My social is 48128. Just like, boy, you never know what you're gonna get.
If you really do have rigs, turn around and drive away.
Yeah.
We don't want them
I
here.
was like, that's what you led with? That's great. Lurch, welcome. We knew you were going to come in hot.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I think, are you going blue blockers? Is that,
Yeah, I'm trying to block the
so you're going
blue
the
light.
smart look?
Yeah.
Because there's no blue light right now
No, because a lot of times I read through the ad reads and all that
on your phone.
with this puppy.
Really trying to protect the eyes.
Yeah.
What does that help you with, like not getting a headache or something like that?
That's the theory.
I'm a
Frankie
blue
was,
blocker guy, but they make fun of me. So it's just interesting to see him rock
All of a sudden, he's jumped on.
Frankie
in
was
the living room.
dispelling the whole thing
see.
earlier.
Well, no, I don't. Well, I don't know for sure what the science is. So we're gonna have to talk. We're gonna have to talk with Shady Rays, and I want a full breakdown about exactly what it does, because I've been told that maybe they don't do exactly what you think they do.
Which you
boy.
could probably argue about anything, really.
Yeah.
Trust the
Thank you,
science,
Chris.
boys.
Trust the science.
Trust the science.
You haven't heard that before, have you?
No, never. Plus, I wasn't sure if I was going to have the laptops. How did I do the laptop? Anyways,
Before we get to the President's Cup,
we're here.
you are born in South Africa, way away from here, right? I always wonder what it's like to be born somewhere that's really far away, and then everything's happening sports-wise, right? Like your mecca of sports is here in the United States, and you say you want to come over with the AJGA. How much of a leap is that to try and convince like your parents and the people around you that like I want to do this, I can do this? It's a massive decision to go over to the United States and start playing, right? As opposed to like for kids that grow up in Florida or New York, it's just a quick plane ride.
Sure.
Sometimes it's a train ride.
Yeah,
Does
it's
it
a
make it more difficult or?
Absolutely. It's a gigantic decision. But also, from a standpoint of, do you have the guts to pick up and leave everything you know and see if you're good enough to make it at whatever level? But also, are you able to scrounge the funds together
Totally.
to be able to come and do that? And so I remember coming over as a 13, 14-year-old, and you're staying with host families and you're just trying to cut every corner that you can, particularly when the currencies aren't matching up that well.
Right.
And so yeah, that makes you tough. There's no doubt about it. But I was very fortunate. My parents were so supportive. I told them when I was 5 years old I wanted to be a professional golfer.
And where'd that come from?
Ernie Els.
Yeah.
Just seeing Ernie Els.
Ernie Els.
He was your Tiger Woods. You saw him
Yeah.
and you're like, I want to do that.
Ernie Els and watching the Masters on TV. And fortunate for me, they believed me. Like they didn't go, oh, well, next week it'll be a fireman and then a cop or, teacher or whatever. They were like, okay,
Podcaster.
we'll let you play golf. And they never stood in my way. They just constantly tried to smooth everything out so that I could keep following my dream. And so, yeah, I owe them a tremendous amount for that. They were just always they were never in the front. They were always just in the background, like trying their best to facilitate what needed to take place for me to be put in the right place at the right time so that hopefully my talent would get me somewhere.
So you had that edge just born with it. You hear a lot of these stories about, like I just got done watching that Venus and Serena Williams movie.
Awesome, man.
Just the way that the father really pushed them to do that. You kind of had that on your own.
I was so mega single-minded. My wife will tell you, we started dating in high school, so we've been together a long time. And she'll tell you, like,
You knew.
mega single-minded. There was nothing else that really ever took up any space.
Blows
And
my
to be honest with you, I think if I look back now, what am I? I just turned 42. If I look back now,
Happy birthday.
thank you, a month ago.
Happy birthday.
And I definitely burnt myself out a little bit because I was so intense about it from a young age and would just work my butt off. Like my whole motto was, what you put in is what you're going to get out, and practice makes perfect. And so I just going nonstop.
Golf's got to be infuriating when you have that mindset of what you put in is what you get out, when you could do everything that you're supposed to do and it still doesn't work out, right?
Yeah.
Also, practice makes perfect. Golf is impossible.
A
to be
game of
perfect.
imperfections.
Yeah, which is probably the main reason why I think I kind of burnt out in my late 30s because I
Yeah.
was just...
You're searching for something that's unattainable.
Yeah, well, it was also 30 plus years of
Yeah.
mega grind. And so when, like you say, when things aren't going exactly the way you would want, you kind of wonder like, okay, how badly do I need this? How much fun am I having right now? Are there other things that I would like to do? And then you kind of weigh up all your options. But what was the first question you asked me?
Like the very first question?
No,
Really?
right before
You think he
Trent
knows?
said
Look at that
something.
brain.
Something jumped into my mind. I just lost it.
I like that he just
You
flips
were
the
saying
question.
Do you remember?
making the jump
Making
from,
the jump from South Africa to America, AJGA stuff.
No, that wasn't it.
I got a question
It'll
about.
come to me in a second.
I got
never
a
mind.
question about practice in general because we talk a lot
Thought I was
about.
on
We
a
just
roll there, and then he went back into my brain.
Oh, this is it. I just got it.
Here we go.
You were talking about how difficult it is to manage, like with golf, because there's so many different pieces of the puzzle that go into being a good golfer. And so, you got to have the mental strength. You got to have the physical attributes and the talent. You've got to be able to put the time in. You got to have good technique. You got to be able to handle that moment when you're coming down the final hole in a major championship or a big tournament, something that means a lot to you. I always have thought of it like a pizza. I mean, there's a solid 7, 8, 9, 10 slices to this thing. And the best are the ones that have got the majority of that or all of that. And then there's a ton of people that are incredible juniors, incredible driving range players, but then you put them in a tournament and they're just not the same.
Missing some toppings.
So yeah, exactly. So there is so much that goes to golf, playing golf at the highest level for an extended period of time. That's why guys like Tiger and Furyk, Ernie, Mickelson, the fact that those guys have been able to stay at the highest level for so long, it's insane. They don't get nearly the amount of respect than what they should. I mean, there's no teammates out there for you, man. It's you, and you are totally exposed.
When it comes to practicing, and you talking about how much you grinded, is that beating balls in the range? What does a legitimate hardcore practice session look like for you, or used to look like when you were really grinding? Because for us, we can hit balls in the range all day. You get in a groove, but then you're just hitting 15 7-irons in a row. You can get pretty good at that. We're just not. None of us grew up doing that. We don't really know what it actually takes to get better when you're trying to get better at golf. What do those sessions look like? Do you mix in a lot of short game, being on the course, range? Are you just beating 1,000 balls? What's that look like?
Yeah, I think you've got to have a few different plans. Otherwise, you can get bored.
Right.
So, like Tiger, I would spend some time with Tiger back in the day at Isleworth when he was living there, and go practice with him every now and then.
Tiger Woods?
And you have you heard of him, Frankie?
Wearing a little Tiger Red right now, kind of. You got a little.
I know you are wearing
Your face
Tiger
is
Red.
Tiger Red too.
Eh?
Is it? Maybe it's the whiskey.
Lurch, you want a drink? By the way, I feel like you want a drink.
I'll get one.
I also.
What do you want?
No, I don't want to. Yeah, just continue to talk about Tiger.
Let me answer this question, and then I'll
Yeah.
get you one. What he at times, which I found fascinating because I wasn't doing anything like that at that moment. This is like 2005, 2006. He at times would dedicate like a day or 2 days to one part. And so like he would putt for 2 days, or he would chip for 2 days, because he thought that he needed to go into an aspect of the game and just get lost for a long period of time, and that's when he would find the little things that could give him an edge.
What do you mean? 2 days, one putt, like from a spot or like a break, or what does that mean?
Or like just putting,
Get
putting
lost
for
in-
like 8-9 hours a day, and then he would do it again the next day. Wouldn't go and hit a drive, wouldn't go and hit a chip, just putt.
Just putt. He would
Just
just sit in
putt.
the putting green.
So you mean just get lost in
Just
putting
get lost
for 2
in the
days?
art of putting, figure stuff out, and that's how I think
That's
that
different.
that he would own it back then.
Right.
He owned it. I never did that until then. I learned that from him. I would always be the guy that'd be like, and he did this too. When you read a lot of the stuff, he would say, okay, 4:30 a.m. workout. I don't know how true that is, but
Right.
and then it would be like 9 holes, hit balls, chip, putt, play another 9, have lunch, all that. So he would do all of that stuff too. But the thing that I learned from him that I'd never heard of before was just for days he would do one thing.
So you started doing that after you saw him doing that.
I started to bring that in, and where I also think it's smart. There's a couple of reasons. First of all, like what he explained to me was you could get lost in it, and you could maybe have like a eureka moment where you're just like, that's it.
Right.
This is it. If I just feel this, then I start him where I want, or I get the right speed, I hit it in the middle, whatever it may be. And then the other thing, it builds that kind of endurance for him. And I think, it's not like we're Navy SEALs or running into brick walls or anything like that, but it gives you that toughness where if you just stand up there and you're like, okay, I'm going to make 50 in a row, and I'm not leaving until I've done that. I'm going to make 100 in a row, whatever it is, from 5 feet or 3 feet or whatever. Like that toughness to complete that task and keep failing until you get it done. Those are the sort of things that you can rely on when you're out on your own coming down the stretch in a tournament. And you've got this putt on like the 17th hole or the 18th hole. And like as you're coming out of your crouch from reading the putt, you're like, man, for every day in the last 2 months, I've made 50 of these in a row. Like I've put the work in.
Yeah.
This is it. I'm making this.
There's also got to be a mental edge to that where nobody else is doing that. You would imagine.
Yeah.
Like nobody else is getting lost in putting or chipping or whatever for 2 straight days. That's just very interesting.
Yeah, he's
does any of that
incredible
preparation
golfer.
even help you in that moment? You just said, like, I've done this 50 times. I'm about to make the round clinching, the tournament clinching putt.
Well, the times I made the putts, I thought it worked.
Don't you have to be in the position to actually know what it's
Yeah,
like?
I absolutely think it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Because it's, I think in sport, at the level that we watch when we're on TV, whatever sport it is, it's just the best of the best. And at that level, when you have supremely talented athletes that have clearly put the time in and they've dedicated their whole lives to the sport, I think that mental self-belief, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
I think you can say that goes across all aspects of life. You're a businessman that needs to make a crazy pitch for your company, and you've done this 1,000 times, and then you have the one that's going to secure your business, like the $1 million loan or whatever it may be, and you just like fuck it up. Or you're a pizza maker and you've made 1 million pizzas like my dad, and then Dave comes to review your pizza and you just make a completely different pizza, Dad. Like, how is that even possible? My dad's made pizzas for 50 years.
That's the other side of it.
But I'm saying, like, you have to be in it. Now the next time that Dave comes, my dad's gonna be prepared because he felt that pressure.
Yeah, and you
He's
don't
made
know how
pizzas
you're going to
his whole
respond.
life. He never knew what it was gonna feel like when Dave Portnoy walked through those doors at Borelli's, and he tried to change up the pizza. He tried to make it more crispy, tried to make it thin crust. We don't have that pizza, so it came out. It looked like a
He
Greek
tried to do it the way Dave liked it instead of doing the way
his
he does
way.
it.
That's right.
Isn't that insane?
I would
67
say-
years.
See it all the time.
Well, I'm saying you can draw it in. Like you can putt 55 times from 5 feet right to left break, and then when you have it on 18 at Augusta National, you may not know what it's going to feel like until you're there. You know, you can do it a million times. Once it's
I would
there.
say the best equivalent for us is the first tee.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Like you can hit 15 drives on the range, and you can get in a groove with the last 6 or 7 of them where they're all perfect. Even the bad ones are like, fine, I'm not embarrassing myself. You walk to that tee, and there's a group behind you, or there's people that come out, and they're like, oh, 4-play guys are teeing. You get out there, and you're standing over that ball going, there is no chance I can hit
Heart
a
in
good
your
shot.
throat.
Here. I know I can't do it. And it's like, I just did it 15 times. It's a half a second movement. Why can't I just do it?
you got to just lower your expectations, man.
yes,
And just realize that everybody feels that. The best players that have ever lived feel nerves on the first tee. It's just one of those things. The best thing to do is just try to have a shot that you can rely on. Like a shot that, okay, everybody's at a different level of golf, but okay, 50% of the time, if I try hit a fade, I can hit a fade. But only 30% of the time when I try hit a draw, I hit a draw. So I'm going to go with the one when I feel uncomfortable that I have a better chance of pulling off. That would be the kind of thought process you should go through. And then it's almost like I kind of expect to hit a bad one. So
yeah.
be more surprised when you actually hit a good one.
So crazy you say that because someone
It takes the pressure off.
Some doctor DM me. I'm trying to do this whole thing, fix my yips, my brain. They're 5 years now running, and for chipping, and someone said that you have way too high of expectations for what you're supposed to do, and you keep putting chipping on this pedestal that you'll never. Every time you step over a ball, or for me, every time I step over a ball, I assume that I'm either going to mess it up because I want the best thing to happen. And they're saying to accept that it could go wrong and be more accepting of that, because then when it does go wrong, you won't be as nervous. Or when you are about to approach the next one, you won't be as nervous because you're accepting that it will just end up in the bunker, or you will just skull it over.
Do you think that the yips in any aspect of our game or any other sport starts with in the mind or with bad technique?
In the mind.
Really?
No surprise here, but what is the one thing that will allow you to play more golf? Retirement.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of people actually
Less
say
work,
that
more golf.
I live a retirement type life.
You do.
Wait, you're a retired 35-year-old?
They're about to be 35, January 30th,
Wake up, answer some
right up.
emails, and then go out and golf.
every day.
That's a nice life.
How do you get to retirement? You need to save money. That's the answer. Whether you're a scratch golfer or trying to break 90, we all know the majority of us need to start thinking about saving for retirement much earlier. That is our good friends at Alto. That's when they come to help. Old Golf Media, probably, by the way, they put a lot of our little tidbits into the ad copy, which I like. They said Old Golf Media probably has boring stocks in their retirement portfolio.
I agree with
Yeah.
that.
Correct. How about investing in cool things like crypto,
Probably
artwork,
Sears.
real estate, or even startup companies? Imagine investing in artwork.
I wouldn't even know. I'm looking at a nice piece of artwork
Yeah,
right now,
Trevor's got
and
some.
it's amazing looking. I just don't know what the value of that thing would be, and I don't think I want to know what the value of that thing would be.
Trevor, you have any idea the history of this art piece? Right?
What?
What?
Everybody tread lightly.
Carmenita made this?
That's amazing.
Trevor said that's his wife.
That is
That
her.
is his wife.
Yeah.
I can see
Whoa.
it now.
I see it now.
Whoa. Amazing. So again,
priceless.
we clearly have no clue
Investing
about
in
these
art.
kinds
Good
of things.
idea.
That's amazing.
Alto also lets you invest in all these and more. The best part is that it's tax advantaged, can even be tax free. Let's start a retirement convo earlier. Let's all do it together and make it more exciting with Alto. Who knows? Maybe Foreplay Crew will see you out on the course sooner than you expected. Go to altoira.com/barstool and you can get started for just $10. That's not that much. You can afford $10. altoira.com/barstool.
I hope so.
I don't.
Where do you think?
I think it's bad technique. It starts with bad technique.
So you think it's
with-
more of a bad habit than
Starts
it is?
with poor technique, and then the longer that hangs around, then the mind starts to figure out a way of like, man, how do I get myself out of this situation? And I think Tiger Woods is a perfect example. And actually, Brandel and I used to have this discussion on doing Golf Central back in the day when Tiger was struggling with the chipping. And he was quite adamant that this is it. Nobody's ever come back from the chipping yips. And I was like, wow, well, I would love his body to be healthy so that he can then clean up his technique. And once those two things have happened, I'd be interested to see, you know, if the yips are even still there. And on that one occasion, I mean, we saw what happened. He got himself kind of ready to go for the most part from a body standpoint. He started down at his tournament in Albany.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, the guy's hitting good chip shots. And so, yeah, for me, I think it starts with bad technique. And once you've experienced those poor chip shots because of bad technique for an extended period of time, eventually your mind's like, man, I cannot be in this situation again.
Just can't do this,
like,
man.
just don't ever put me here.
I'm sick of this shit, man.
What do you think about
Because
chip?
he'll put like on the range. Sometimes you'll hit a bunch,
Yeah.
10 good wedges,
Buttery.
and then you'll get to the course, and it's just a nightmare. And so that to me has to be mental. But maybe to your point that it's just gone so long now that it is a mental.
Yeah, it is mental now.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, where did it
Yes,
start?
right.
Right.
Had to start somewhere. Maybe the womb.
But you said playing high school golf, you
I'm
weren't
sick.
a bad chipper,
It's my
right?
favorite part of the game.
Yeah.
I must have gotten in some
Have you
sort of car
tried to
accident or
chip
something.
right-handed?
No. But Kisner had me chipping one-handed, and I was elite.
Yeah, that looked good. I saw that video.
Yeah.
That looked good. Yeah. Maybe try chip right-handed for a little while. See if it like switches things in your
We
mind
got
a
to
little
switch
bit.
something up. I got a message saying that I read it off on the last podcast, so I won't do it again. But basically, there's this thing that happens with your brain that you've experienced some sort of trauma, and it's trying
Remember
to.
those words?
You don't want to read that?
Those words out.
I don't. Just so something. Essentially, your brain's saying a traumatic event's about to happen, and we're going to do everything we can to stop that subconsciously. So that's when we were talking about Rick Ankiel, the baseball player who pitched for the Cardinals, couldn't throw the ball home anymore. He had to learn how to hit and play the outfield. His muscles would actually physically tense up as he went to go throw a baseball because his brain's saying, let's not do that thing that we don't like.
Is this when you said you're going to shoot yourself up with Botox in
Yes.
your arms?
Oh, you know a lot about this. Yeah. Yeah, I did say that.
What do you think about that?
Have you started your first treatment yet or no?
Well, this will be breaking news. I'm going to do a series.
Botox?
I'm doing a series called Fixing Frankie. And it's going to be all mental stuff. I think a lot of people, our listeners and our viewers, can gain a little bit of something about how to fix the mental side of your game. I don't think we think nearly enough about it. Average golfers. We don't think about our way to move around the golf course. We don't think about the right decisions to make. And we also don't think about like what goes into like being mentally healthy to play the game of golf.
How deep are you going to allow the camera crew to get into that?
Really deep.
Okay, all right.
And I'm going to get hypnotized, I think, too.
Amazing.
Hypnotized would be something.
I love it.
So we're going to try it all.
Why not?
We'll start with good technique, though. Hopefully that'll
I'm
work.
telling you.
Have
that's
you
the
ever
way.
gone through anything like that? Anything yippy or anything?
Yeah, for me, it was I had 3 wrist surgeries shortly after I won the Masters, like a year after I won the Masters. And it was like 4 months before I could putt again. And so that was really tough. And you start to come back. And I felt it with the long clubs. I would get to the top and my mind would not let me hit the ball because it was, I think, anticipating pain. And just not trusting that this thing had healed up. And so, yeah, I had to kind of overcome that. Really haven't been much of a good driver of the ball since that moment, actually.
You think it's related?
I don't know. Starts with technique.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
We're talking a lot about preparation and how much you have to put into it to play the game of golf. And then prior to us turning on the mics, you talked a little bit about being in the booth and on TV and commentating and how much preparation you actually do have to put into that. I wonder, how has that been going, and is it more than you anticipated? How are you dealing with all of that?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. And for me, that's the most thing. You always hope to get good feedback from people, or at the very least constructive criticism to be like, hey, you're almost there, but maybe you can work on this or tweak this. But I'm enjoying it. But yeah, I think it depends. Everybody's a little different. But for me, I treat it very much the way I did when I was playing. So I do a lot of work. To just make sure that I know a little something about all the players. And I'm always trying to think to myself, okay, how can I say something on the broadcast that could make somebody sit up off of their couch and go like, oh, okay, that's cool. Let me listen for a couple more minutes and see, how do you grab somebody? It could be through humor. It could be through something about the swing or the golf course or, what you've noticed out of this particular player. So that's always what I'm trying to figure out. And even, over the last couple of weeks, and you watch all those montages and tributes to John Madden, it's like he had that ability. Like, he would just grab people and make you want to listen. And to me, that's really cool. When I watch sport, that's what I want as a fan sitting at home.
Yeah.
So those are sort of all the lines that I am thinking down. But yeah, always trying to do a lot of prep. Make sure you're ready. And that's where, for me, we were talking about Joe Buck or Mike Tirico, Jim Nance, guys who do multiple sports. It is incredible the amount of work those guys put in, research, making sure they're ready and understand all the nuances of all these different sports. Man, that's big time. Right
And to
there.
be able to contextualize things the way that they do, and like you said, jump from sport to sport. Because the point that you made originally to us was like, I feel like I know a lot about golf. I'm a Masters winner, and I still have to prepare a ton to get to the level that I want to be at before coverage. Like, that's amazing to us, because I feel like you could just roll in there and know everything.
Well, I think it also depends on, I always want to be ready in case I choke, when that light goes on and all of a sudden you've got to say something interesting. It's so easy to fall back into a golf cliche.
Yeah.
And so I'm always wanting to not do that. And so how do you find out stuff about players that you could say that has never been said before, or you could, bridge with something else into something that could be happening on the screen at that moment? So, yeah, a ton of notes, just trying to be ready, trying to keep it interesting as much as you can. I mean, golf on TV can be really boring.
Oh yeah.
So how do we find that something to get it going?
That's good though. I mean, that's a good goal, right? Because I think we all, and plenty of people complain about coverage all the time, and some coverage is clearly better than others. But I do think, like you said, with Madden, with certain people that are really, really skilled at it, they can start speaking about something in a way that makes you be like, I can't tune out until they finish this thought or this story or this tidbit about the person. And that's, especially in a lot of sports, there's so much time to be filled where there's not necessarily a ton going on. People can be distracted by their phone, by anything in the world. So it's tough. It's a tough skill, I feel like, to capture people for an extended period of time. Yeah,
the coverage takes are interesting. You hear about it a lot. You get a lot of messages from people.
Can't imagine.
But it's kind of like it's kind of like the government almost. like nobody even knows where some of these decisions get made. These announcers are just there trying to do their job. So when somebody says to me, okay, we've got a commercial in 20 seconds, we've got a commercial in 20 seconds. Yeah. The producer doesn't even know why, he's deciding when that commercial may be, but there's another layer of how many commercials are going to be run in that time slot or in that hour or in that show. And so like the layers are so deep,
right,
with who's actually making these decisions that, a lot of times when you get these messages from people that are shouting at you about commercial load or this or that, and you're just like, dude, give me a break. That decision is getting made like 100 miles from where I'm at. Okay. And I'm talking about business-wise. Like I have never even met or heard the person's name that has made that decision.
Right.
Like I'm just here doing my job, man.
Somebody whispered in my ear, we're going to commercial in 20 seconds. We're going to commercial in 20 seconds.
You should never be to blame for the coverage problems.
Golf's also crazy because it resets every Sunday. Like if you're a football announcer like John Madden, the 10-6 Chiefs are coming in against like the 6-10 Bengals or whatever the case is. So there's some natural buildup to the game. But depending on the event, as an announcer, like you don't know how good of an event it's going to be, truthfully. And like, I don't know if people tuned into the Sony last night, but that was amazing finish. Incredible. Like, and you talk about, somebody hitting 50 or 100 putts in a row. Like Henley was pretty much nails down the stretch. I mean, he got a little, I don't know. He wasn't hitting as pure as he was on the front nine on the back, but he was still making putt after putt after putt until the 18th. And so I'd love to get your take on that. But it is tough as an announcer to go in with, hey, I don't know what I'm going to get out of this. So you got to be on the top of your game to bring something new to the table when, somebody does win by 5 or 6 strokes and there's not that finish down at the end, because there's not that like natural buildup that what's about to take place at this event. You really truthfully don't know what it's about to happen unless it's a major or some sort of big event that there's, other things associated with it. So, going to the well of figuring out, hey, what can I say to grab people, to bring people in, to continue to watch on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday is super tricky. And then just to get your mindset on that and wanting to bring something new is awesome.
Yeah. Everything you've just said is exactly the reason why I try to do the prep.
Yeah.
It's because, you like you say, you're not quite sure how the golf's going to be. You could come on air and some guy is on 59 watch.
Right.
And so then it's just like, okay, whatever we had planned for this show, that's gone for the next hour because we are focused on this cat trying to break 60.
Right.
And then other times you'll come on and everybody's struggling and there's not much going on, and then you got to, dream something up.
Or that guy at 59, like, hey, do I have some interesting facts that will continue to, get people captivated towards that individual that's going for, the hunt for 59 or whatever it is. So yeah, that's just a tricky fight, I guess, in terms of, your mental prowess and what you want to share with the audience. It's tricky each time.
And then you walk the fine line too, particularly as an ex-player, is just how tough you're going to be at times. Is it fair? Is it unfair? Are you looking to cause a stir? There's absolutely people out there that say stuff because they want to get attention.
It doesn't feel like Trevor.
No, probably not. Maybe this week, actually.
Okay.
Tune in. Tune into the golf. Immelman's on it there.
See, I got you.
Maybe you become that guy just for a week and we see how it goes.
I got you. Maybe this week, Riggs.
Okay. I like it. Out of PGA West, it'd be a good,
Be a good spot. Weather will be perfect. Ball will be flying a mile.
bunch of retirees hanging out, and then Trevor Immel just comes in with a hammer. And
It's all
buries
guns
people.
blazing.
We'll put the word out between and be like, this guy Trevor Immelman's kind of going off the handle during this
Man,
broadcast.
this guy's spicy. You guys should pay attention to him a little bit more.
So you got to figure out like
Randomly
how you're going to walk
now
that
stepping
line.
up to tee the ugliest guy on tour.
Holy shit!
Never personal, Frankie. Never
Thursday,
personal.
Friday, I think you should just lead with this. I mean, get people tuned in. Like, Immelman's just nasty.
Producers
Prior
like
to the cut. Just
commercial
straight
is
up
now
nasty
in
and
5 seconds. We're going to commercial
And
right
Ma-
now.
Max almost steps up to the tee. He has no shot this week.
Right. That's what you
That's
do. You
right.
do it really casually. You say pretty mean things really casually. And
SNL
people are
bit.
like, well, now what's going on in this
Yeah.
broadcast? I like it. It could be a
Lip
new
out
lane.
for birdie on the first hole. That's him done. No chance this week.
I like it.
It might be. You could get away with it once.
Yeah.
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 Would they like chirp at you about that? Would the producer chirp at you about that? How
Well,
would
I
that
think
work?
if you have, and what you try and always create is a really cool, and I'm sure it's the same with you guys, a really cool relationship with the person that's running the show, with the producer. And that way everybody can be open and honest with each other and be like, yeah, I really like that, but maybe hold off on this. And so you're having that constant flow of information or critique coming through your ear as they trying to run the show that could maybe lead you down certain paths or make you hit the brakes every now and then. Or you get a text from someone saying, like, ouch, don't open Twitter.
That was a little dicey. Don't open Twitter.
Golf coverage is really interesting because there's obviously the lane where you want to captivate people, but then for us on the podcast, we've talked about you could just turn on the camera and let us just hear ambient noise, and I just want to hear the back and forth between the player and the caddy. You ever see any value in that where it's like you kind of just step back and just let the people hear? Like, how do those decisions come into play?
I think if you had a 3 or 4 hour broadcast of just hearing play and caddy, you'd be bored out of your mind.
Yeah.
You really would. I think it's cool to hear some of it, but just like anything, too much of anything is bad.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think if you can find a way to bleed it in the right moments, and when shots are like really consequential, then it adds that extra layer. And it adds the ability to see, maybe how anxious the player is, or if they're committed to what the caddy's saying or not, if there's any type of conflict there. So I think it's one of those where at the right time it's gold, but all day long, then it'll be another thing you complain about.
I know it's
watching the golf.
I know it's the producer's job mostly, but will you ever chime in on those types of decisions? Will you ever be like, man, that stuff we're getting from Kisner and Dewey is really good. We should go back to that, or text somebody or something?
The general rule is when there's like a traffic system to doing TV, and people know when they come in during that traffic. But the general rule is if a player and caddy start talking, you shut up.
Okay.
And you try and hear what they're saying. And then, as the lead analyst, you would try and think to yourself, okay, can I squeeze something in really quick, or is it best, or if you're in the middle of saying something, do I try and add a few more words to that before I clip it off, or do I jump out there immediately and then try and finish my thought on the back end? And so those are the little things that you're weighing up in that split second, and sometimes you get it right and sometimes you get it wrong, and you just got to feel it out. But the general rule of thumb is when players and caddies are talking, and you can hear any part of it. You just lay out.
Shopify gives entrepreneurs the resources once reserved for big business, so upstart startups and established businesses alike can sell everywhere, synchronize online and in-person sales, and effortlessly stay informed. Sounds like a lot of Lurch jargon.
Shopify?
Yeah, does this sound really impressive to you, Lurch?
I mean,
Say
sounds.
yes, because they're a sponsor.
So I'm not
I
going
kind
to
of teed it up for you there. You're supposed to just
Wait,
not-
so it's a service that helps you if you have your own business, you can sell stuff? Is that what's going on?
That's right.
Now,
So it's
I will
bringing
say the website like this is very important because that's how I got my start. When I first made shirts, I had to go to a site just like this.
Where'd you do that from?
Shopify,
Nice. In what state?
Iowa.
What? So you were slinging T-shirts?
They had
Yes.
internet back then in Iowa.
In Iowa?
I,
They made it
I,
there?
They have
I-
internet
I was
now?
selling Fran McCaffrey t-shirts, Fran face t-shirts,
That Christian McCaffrey's dad.
and I needed a website to sell them on, and I went to one just like this, and it's the reason I'm sitting in Trevor Immelman's house
the
right now.
70s.
Okay, if I don't have that website like that, I'm not sitting in this extremely comfortable leather chair.
Really nice chair.
So drinking his bourbon. So these websites are honestly very important to creators.
It's true. Our start, if it weren't for things like Shopify, there's no way we'd be successful. We were able to prove that we could do it. We were able to do it very easily. Shopify powers millions of businesses from first sale to full scale. Yeah, I just mumbled my way through businesses. Reach customers online and across social networks with an ever-growing suite of channel integrations and apps, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, and more. You guys ever on Pinterest?
No.
No,
So-
but I've been around people that are on Pinterest, and it's a whole nother world.
What do they say about it?
You can curate all your different likes and your wants about your.
You're a guy that's been pitched by
your out-
everybody on the same thing
Your
that's never
outfits.
been on it. Yeah,
your
exactly.
outfits, your
You pin your wall. You got all
walls.
this stuff.
I've-
My fiance's on Pinterest.
I've started veering into
Yeah.
that world now that I've decided that I want to learn how to cook.
interior decorating.
How's
How's
it
the
cat?
cooking going?
Ooh, cooking is really good for Pinterest.
Yeah,
I
it
saw
is.
this recipe on Pinterest.
How's it going? I just spent like a couple $100 on cooking stuff.
Wow.
So
What do you mean cooking stuff? What does that
You
mean?
mean food or you mean
No,
like
no, no.
Ingredients, like
No,
you
like
got fucking
just
pans. What do
the
you have?
actual utensils, and
Gotcha.
like knives and cutting
speaking
boards.
of-
You're telling me you didn't have knives a week ago?
No, but I need the right knife.
Bro, speaking of utensils, the plateware that we experienced tonight at the Immelman house
Oh man,
is.
There's just
The thing that's always upper echelon
This is
is
just
the
the worst time for
underplate.
me to be buying a house coming into this place.
he's
Yeah,
so
I'm
rattled.
like I'm going to Walmart next week to get like white like plates.
you.
The plates we ate off tonight were like
You're-
crafted by Poseidon.
You've been on this very podcast. You've been begging
Poseidon
people
craft
to come
plates, you
paint
think?
your
It
house.
looked like it. There was like these blue things.
It
Yeah,
was
that
the
was
water
cool.
and the
The
aqua
underplate
and
is
the
upper
sea?
echelon.
Bro, they have plates that you're not supposed to eat on.
Yeah.
Go to
That's class, baby.
Insane, dude. What are we doing? Oh, no, you don't eat on those ones. You put another plate on top of that one.
Shopify.com/4, all lowercase, for a free 14-day trial and get full access to Shopify's entire suite of features so you can buy plates that you don't even eat on. Grow your business with Shopify today. Go to Shopify.com/4 right now. That is Shopify.com/4. I imagine it's got to be like anything where if there's people that aren't getting the football enough in their mind, are they like, is there complaining and drama behind the scenes?
Nah.
Really?
Like I said, everybody knows their role.
That's good.
And when
Everybody knows their role.
when players talking to a caddy, or if I was on tour, is there a standard kind of back and forth that takes place? Like when you walked up to a ball and you were, X amount of distance out, would you get up to your ball and then your caddy would relay a bunch of information and you go back? Is there any because when you go to a course and they have caddies, it's like, yeah, you should probably hit your 8-iron like here, so you don't pull it left into the water. It's probably a safer shot. But it's more like mitigating risk. But on tour, is there a standard kind of correspondence back and forth that takes place, or is it different for every player caddy?
It's mostly the same. I think the main thing for the caddies is to just figure out exactly what that player likes.
Okay.
So some players want to keep it as simple as possible, and they may only want the whole distance. Some players, like I always wanted the front.
Yeah, what'd you want every time?
I
you
wanted
walked
the
your ball?
front and then the pin.
Front pin. Okay.
And then in my mind, I would say, okay, if I've got 150 front, 165 to the hole, and we're playing the US Open. So the greens are really firm. That ball's taking like a 6-7 yard bounce. Now, I'm I'm trying to fit my ball in between that front edge and the hole location because I'm anticipating that bounce. So my number now is becoming, 57, 58, 157, 158. And I'm trying to figure out, well, okay, where's my miss? If I miss short, am I more likely to get up and down? Or if I miss long, am I more likely to get up and down? And so then you're factoring that stuff in before you make the decision. And the caddy will be feeding you information or as much information as you want. Yeah. And these are the things that the team figures out before the tournament gets going and gets better and better at the longer players and caddies work together. It's just how much information the player wants.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting because like when we have a caddy, it's more of a like risk mitigator. It's like, you should probably do this or do that. But for you, it's like your hype man. He's like trying to tell you the right information to do the best job to potentially be like as aggressive and safe as possible. But when we get caddies, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like, no, you should probably go here so you don't get in this kind of trouble. So it's like a totally different conversation.
Ours are also like a rent-a-caddy.
No, I know, but they're just trying to get through the round, and it's like a whole different conversation usually, and not making sure you don't screw up pretty much.
Or sometimes they're too hype manny, our caddies, and they think I can do things that I can't, and then I end up fucking up.
Just nip this one in there tight. Just
I would actually disagree with you. I'd say most like resort caddies are pretty goddamn positive, and it pisses me off.
No, they are, but
like,
it's
dude,
like,
I suck. I'm not going after any of these pins.
Yeah, but you don't want the guy beating you up.
No, I like it. I hate how much I disappoint him if I can.
Yeah, that always sounds crazy.
So it's another layer of pressure on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say
back
it
from an onion.
It can be a little infuriating too, where they're like, "All right, you see that like tallest pine up there? I want you to start it just right of that, and then bleed it towards that pine." I'm
I
like,
literally
dude,
say, who do you think you're talking to? Trevor
have you
Hillman?
seen what's been happening for the last 6 holes?
But also, like, there's so many different things that the caddy needs to learn about each particular player, and that, to me, that's what separates. Those are the two things: is how well you get to know your player to where you can help him free his mind, and then how well you know the golf course to when you can add a little something that could gain a shot, which is massive at the highest level. And so knowing, like, some players don't mind hearing, can't go left here. Other players, if you say that, that'll be the last time you say that.
Right.
And so that's where, to me, the greatest caddies are the best communicators. And they're able to they understand exactly when to say something and when not to say something. And when they do say something, what they should say to not get in the mind of the player.
So how much of that do you think, how much importance do you put on that? Like, could you go out there and just caddy for a Justin Thomas with all your knowledge of golf? Or do you think you need that personal connection to be able to know exactly everything about his game? Or could you just kind of coach him around the course?
I need to tread lightly. I don't want all the caddies coming at me. Yeah, but that's true. With what I know about the game, I think if you gave me a little time with Justin Thomas, I could be a good caddy for him. I do, yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because you see guys like Bones, they can like bounce around from guy to guy, right? Or like when we're at tournaments, they'll be like, "Yeah, I got this guy in my bag this week." So it interested me. I guess those guys are just really.
But he's one of the best,
right?
Ever.
Right.
So
yeah,
he has that special something. Like anybody who's been in the top 5 in the world or has won a Super Bowl or something like that, they've got that special something that they always bringing to the party that they can jump around and still get it done. It's a gift. He's got a gift.
I remember at the Northern Trust this year, we ran into Joey LaCava, and he said something really interesting to us, which was he was caddying for Patrick Cantlay that week, and he said that Tiger texted him right before. Been like, you better get ready to give him 2 numbers this week. And I guess Tiger's just a pure raw number guy. And I guess Cantlay's he wants the raw number and the adjusted.
Yeah.
So to your point, it's like everybody wants something a little bit different. He always wanted it adjusted and the raw. So Tiger was chirping him, being like, I know you're used to giving me 1. And Joey said to us, he's like, yeah, there are a few times in the course where I'd be like, 166. And then Cantlay would be like, and?
Yeah. But that's just more insight to Tiger. It's like he wanted all the responsibility on himself.
Yeah.
And he took so much pride in that he just wanted the 1 number. And he played so much by feel that then in his own mind, he would dial in, what the wind's doing, what the elevation's doing, what the lie is doing. And he also had the advantage of knowing that he was by far the best. And so he knew that, you know, he used that to his advantage to be like, whatever I figure out here is going to be better what the next guy figures out.
Right.
Right.
So
That's
I'm going
what,
to go
like-
with myself on
Yeah,
this.
it makes me smile. It's like, no, it's also like trapped knowledge too. It's like his caddy can't even have that. Like, God forbid, like if he were to go anywhere else, it's like, I know the number. No one else could get this calculation as dialed in as I could. And so I'm going to keep that. That's the way I feel about
Similar
it.
to what Kiz has said to us before about, like, you know, hey, do you bring Dewey or do you bring other people in to read putts? And he's like, well, no offense to anybody, but I'm better than these people at putting. Why would I trust someone else to rig? I can just read it.
Speaking of a guy just stepping up and just doing something, how about Hideki? You alluded to it before, but can we talk about the Sony a little bit? Because, I mean, at this point,
Yeah.
you're just on the whole show, so we have to talk about the Sony Open.
Sorry, we do this sometimes.
so
We
good.
Sorry, guys.
That finish
I'm
was
not
as
coming,
good as it- as
coming
the
talking
golf.
too much here.
No, I love it.
No, we're the ones
We
holding
need
you
you.
hostage.
You make
I
the
feel.
show legitimate.
We need you.
Like, big time. Last week we talked about, I don't even know what. I read a poem last week.
He has another one this
I
week.
do have a poem this week.
Not only did he didn't just read a poem, he wrote a poem and then
I
read
missed
it.
that. I missed that.
I enjoyed it.
Fucking good poem.
No, I thought it was great.
This week I
I was a
have a
big fan.
user submitted poem. Someone sent me one at like 3:30 in the morning, and I just have to read it. Like if
Is
people
it-
are putting the effort in to send me poems, I'm gonna read them on the show.
Okay.
Poems are tough too. To, like,
Really tough.
Come up with it's creative and good.
You don't strike me as a poet. Lurch.
No, but
Lurch?
like if we're gonna go around the room, like, are you a poet?
I would say more so than you,
The
probably.
reason why I enjoy it because there's a cadence to it, and I am a drummer, so I like the idea of the cadence. To
I
it
like
and
that.
going-
There's a
That's
drum
cool.
set here for
That's
the record.
cool.
I'll actually go around the. I'll say I'm the worst poet in the group. I'd say Trent would be my number one.
That's crazy.
I would
read you a good
say-
one.
Yeah, the two of you maybe close, and I would be last.
I just read you a fantastic.
Yeah,
poem
we have
last
the
week.
we
I
have
know.
the experience.
I was an English major. I've written a decent amount of poetry.
I could see that. Yeah.
You were an
I could
English
easily
major.
see that in that face.
Yeah, Trent was an English major.
You were
I didn't. To be clear, I did not graduate.
for a short period of time. You were an English
He
major.
began a pursuit of an English
I
major.
felt the disappointment that really hit me in the chest when you said "oh." But yeah, well, I got this was many moons ago. But I would have graduated, I swear. And I feel like I'm having a conversation that I had with my parents many years ago. but I would have graduated, but I got the offer to do this job,
Oh.
and I was like, I'm going to jump at that.
And you made the right choice.
I did. Looking back on it now, but maybe one day I'll go back and I'll graduate. But yeah, I was an English major there for a few years.
Where was that? Iowa.
Not at the University of Iowa. It's a smaller college in Cedar Rapids.
Nice.
I really enjoyed it. I do like to read and I like to write. That's kind of why I got into this gig. It's changed over the years, but I like that. I like doing those things. That's a fun thing to me.
That's cool. So he is number one poet on the
I-
team. You're
but-
going to second, Frankie.
But
so-
it has to go to Frankie because he's the only one who's wrote a poem on this actual podcast.
and delivered it for the masses. To
Right.
read.
And it went over pretty well.
Yeah, and we're publicizing poetry on the Foreplay podcast, so we're bringing back some literature on this thing.
Yeah, you're right, which is important.
So what were your thoughts on this past weekend? I mean, just took Twitter by storm. Whenever a tournament like that goes viral, you know it caught everyone's eye, especially on Wildcard Sunday. Just an amazing finish. Hideki's your guy. It's
Yeah.
a phenomenal shot that all of us just can't wrap our heads around. 277
Yeah.
coming in soft. The way it landed is just the most preposterous
Just
way
high
I've ever-
fade in there.
High fade.
Up and down from 277 into the sun.
Had like a 175 ball speed or something on a 3-wood off the
Saw
deck.
that. That's 20 mile an hour faster than my
Good
driver.
grief. Yeah, it was amazing, man. He did what you would expect the Masters champ to do. It was 5 down after 9, birdie 10, birdie 11, and just put enough heat on Russell to where, he got himself right back in it. And then takes the risk, 18 regulation, with that driver. I mean, how was that swing?
Did you see where he put that on the tee ball?
Yeah.
It was like right behind the marker.
Yeah.
Made me nervous.
I thought he was going to hit it.
The amateur golfer, it goes right off that back into your neck.
Kills me or kills the people behind me.
That thought never crossed his mind. I can promise you that. So did you see on the one angle, actually the producer did a great job and
Shout out
directed
to
it
the
a great
producers, yeah.
and did a great job getting the right camera angle there when he was measuring the 2 club lengths to see exactly how far back he would go. He stayed on that inside edge, so he knew he wasn't doing anything untoward with the rules, and then just unleashed this high draw right down there and put the pressure on Henley. And Henley then goes with the 3-wood, plays it out into the bunker. And at that point, you even kind of wondered, like, if it would be a 2-shot swing and he would make eagle in regulation and win. Anyway, go to the playoff. And what I thought was so interesting was Henley gets the honor, hits it into the fairway bunker again, like carbon copy of regulation. And after Hideki sees that, even though he just hit one of the most awesome drives you've seen in a little while, up and over the corner, he goes to the 5-wood because he knows now that Henley can't reach the green. So as long as he puts it in the fairway, he's then going to be able to reach the green and have the advantage. So hits the 5-wood off the tee, perfect around the corner, and then hits that 3-wood in there to what, 2 feet? That was, to me, that was, I think it's a huge moment because he has this huge win with the Masters, and then he wins Zozo in his home country, which, like, that's tough to do. Winning in your home country, going back there as the Masters champion, you know how much they love him and how famous he is there already. But then the PGA Tour comes to downtown, you win that. And then you get this win as well, coming from 5 shots back with 9 to play. Like, he's starting to build a reputation of, like, this dude, you know, it puts him in another category. And obviously my position this year, I'm really happy about
I was going to say, you've seen him in such a personal setting too. Have you always known that he's had this edge to him?
Yeah, we've always felt that. He's been so good ever since he was a junior golfer. But it can be hard to get like a real beat on him because he's so humble.
Yeah.
Like, he's so humble. And so you can't always get a feel for his greatness because he always is just looking for a way to take a back seat and, you know, find a quiet spot. And, you know, if I had my way, I would like to try and find a way for him to step up a bit more and become the real leader of our team.
I saw,
but I don't want. Sorry, Lurch.
No.
But I don't want to change his personality. I want him to be authentic and be comfortable. But I think because he's so quiet, if he decided to step up and say something, like, you would hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
Like, everybody would be like, okay, well, we've never seen this before.
It gave me the chills, you describing how he has like this subdued greatness, like he's holding in this nuclear weapon, and you see him in the corner just sitting there. That's right.
Yeah,
unleashed it.
Imagine just being in the same locker room as him, like looking at him, just chilling over there in the corner, knowing that guy could beat every other person on the golf course, and he's not saying a word about it. That's almost more scary than him coming out and saying, "I'm going to beat you today."
Yeah, he's calm. He's calm. He always just wants to stay under the radar.
That's more terrifying, I think, as an opponent. Like, this guy doesn't even care what's going on. He's beating us. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't care.
Yeah.
But like, this guy's just walking around like it's a regular Sunday, and I'm over here sweating bullets, and he's hitting 275-yard 3-woods to 2 feet. It's like, can we get this guy to get rattled 1 second?
To speak to like the unlocking of his greatness, though, because I saw a stat today, he was 0-93 in terms of wins in his first 93 starts. And in the last 18, he's had 3 wins. So maybe something to like unlocking that greatness.
Did you have a conversation with him?
It's got nothing to do with me.
That was your chance to take some credit. Right there.
It's got nothing to do with
He
me.
wouldn't have said you were wrong because he's so humble.
No.
Well, look, I think that the knock on him has always been, you know, can he get the putter to be able to match the long game? The long game has always been impeccable. He's one of the few players that puts a strike on the ball that is special, and he can flight the ball through the air better than most. It just looks different. It sounds different. He can hit it mega high, which is a huge advantage on the toughest courses. But the knock has always been, at times, he won't make those 4, 5, 6 footers to keep things going. And in the last, like you say, what did you say? Won 3 of the last 19?
18, I
18
think.
or 19.
Yeah.
So in the
The first 93.
last year or so, he's found a way to be able to do that. And so that's going to be
Pretty
the
good
key
timing for you.
I saw maybe the loosest I've ever seen is he was asked after the tournament, "What do you do now? How do you celebrate? What do you go? Where are you going? What are you going to play next?" He goes, "I'll have my share of sake tonight. We'll see you all in San Diego at Torrey Pines."
Nice.
And they followed up and said, "When do you take vacation?" He said, "Tonight."
I feel
good.
there's a sense of humor in there. For
I
sure.
like
You've
that.
obviously spent far more
Yeah.
time with him than us, but like I feel like there's something in there that he has that hopefully it starts to come out. Because like Frank, you're saying a guy who doesn't say anything and then B2 is terrifying as an opponent. What you're saying is like in a locker room setting or with other people who are on his team, you wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more out of him in that respect.
Well, we've just always seen that in sports over the years. One little thing that gets said in the locker room or in the huddle can spark magic.
Yep.
And so you, as a leader or as a captain or as a general manager, whatever it may be, you're always looking for, okay, how can I find that something that's going to create magic? And he's one of those players that is so gifted and so well respected by both teams, by everybody, whether we're in media or players or caddies or whatever, that if he had to say the right thing at the right time, it's the kind of thing that could spur your team for a whole week. And so you kind of wonder if that opportunity or moment will be there. Yeah, I can't wait to see. Yeah, I can't. Those are the kinds of things
getting
that
the chills thinking
I
about
can't
it.
wait to see.
Step it up
but
that
also
line.
You're the
it's
captain in the room right now.
It's
That's what's psychotic about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Quail
By the way,
Hollow. It's
Captain,
like,
if somebody had to pee, where would they go real quick?
first on your left. It's right there.
I'll be right back.
you're gonna go pee?
I gotta pee real bad. Guys, I would like to tell you about the new Cradle crew neck pullovers from Peter Millar. All right, look, Peter Millar. We're all rocking Peter Millar right now.
Wow.
Frankie was just checking his stomach. Looks good in that thing.
Yeah, this is the Lava
Lava
Wash
Wash.
hoodie.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't lose its form. I've had this for about 4 or 5 months now. Washed it 1,000 times because I wear it every single day. It's a little bit pricier on the pricier side when it comes to hoodies, and I'm telling you right now, there's a reason why Ferraris cost what they cost and Toyota Camrys cost what they cost. You're buying class.
Little ricochet shot there, Toyota
Toyota
Camry.
Camrys, yeah,
Wow.
it is a little bit.
I don't think
These
they saw
hoodies
that
are
coming.
Are the Coup de Grace? Is that nope?
I think that sounded right to me.
Coup de
Coup de
Grace.
grace.
Coup de
Coup de
Grace.
grace.
How do you spell that? Do you know?
That's a yeah.
Coup de Grace are these hoodies. I'm telling you right now, Peter Millar, it's not just the golf stuff. It's the lifestyle wear. Go on their website, check it out. You're going to look like $1 million because they know how to make you look classy.
Their Cradle crew neck is phenomenal. Also, their pullovers, their quarter zips we were talking about forever. EB66 5-pocket pants. I'm rocking them right now. Me and Frankie got their Hyperlight shoes on.
Oh, yeah, these
Yeah,
shoes.
those too.
Which
You know
I-
what? We know a guy named
all
Todd Martin
got
over
them
there,
on.
Peter Millar, and that's a guy who just knows how to live life, and he knows what he's doing in
Team
life.
Arts?
And the fact that
Oh,
he's
man.
running
He's
the
just
ship over
done.
there
I love that guy.
makes you just know that they know what they're doing. Todd Martin knows what he's doing. Peter Millar knows what they're doing.
One of the
He's
great-
also a guy that you'd like to look like at that age.
Oh.
Like, he's got it
And
together.
if he is in
Silver
Peter
Fox,
Millar,
yes.
you know Peter Millar is good at that
yes,
age
yes,
and that art.
yes.
True.
He
What a-
sells the brand well.
what a beauty of a man that guy
He's a
is.
fantastic human being. It's a fantastic company.
I also know every time we talk about Todd Martin, they in their office all play it out loud to embarrass him every time.
Good.
Silver Fox.
Silver Fox.
What a
Stallion,
handsome stallion.
jackhammer, alpha,
Oh yeah.
the best.
God, I
Head
just
on
wanna
over
hug
to
that guy.
petermillar.com/4play to explore the Cradle crew neck as well as the complete line of performance pullovers from Peter Millar. Again, you go to petermillar.com/4play. Check out a bunch of our favorites, including the Cradle crew neck, their pullovers, their hoodies, their vests, all kinds of good stuff. petermillar.com/4play. We love you, Todd Martin.
So I have a question for you because I've just thought a lot last night about Henley because his putter was really fantastic. His ball striking I thought was pretty bad for the back nine, but I thought his putter was actually pretty darn good through the closing holes, and he was making some clutch putts. And this is all like weird. I can't believe I'm saying this in last year, but when we hung out and hit balls with Rory, and he showed us how to drive, but he also said his guy was David Goggins. So now I've been listening to a lot of David Goggins, and what he basically trains for is getting above goal. So he talks about going on runs, and when there's a defined halfway point and you come back, the guys get, more cheery because they know there's an end point. And sometimes that changes the way that you work in this world. But then some instructors would say, no, we're going past the end point. And then you could see basically their mindset and their body language deteriorate. And so I want to know if there's like a way in your mind when you were training for golf, if there was a way to train to get beyond goal, because Henley had made putt after putt after putt, and then he puts him into pretty good position to win it on the 18th hole. I mean, I think he had like a 12-footer uphill, maybe right edge of the cup, and he had a good putt, just missed it.
Yeah.
I totally agree. But that was like one of the only putts he missed going down, finishing the back nine. And, it's so final on the 18th, right, in terms of making that putt. Like, was there any, we talk about making 50 in a row or something like that, but did you ever have someone next to you saying like, no, and more and more and more, so you never knew where that end goal was? Or I'm just trying to think of, a blend of kind of Goggins' mindset and making sure that you're the same way that you were on the 18th, on the 17th, to execute on that plan. And how do you get that extra edge? I guess?
I was a little different. I didn't like to set goals because I'm so like OCD about it that it would make me raise my expectations. And then if I didn't achieve them, it would devastate me. And it would actually if I say take me out of the game, what I mean is it would affect my performance for a number of tournaments, because I would be devastated that I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve. So I was pretty loose on setting goals, but I made up for it with the preparation part and the practice part. Like, I wanted to walk onto a range at a tournament and look down the range and go, there's not one dude here that's put in as much work as me.
Gotcha.
And so that was how I felt. Like every athlete that plays at the highest level, they got to try and find a way that they're going to get an edge. At least they've got to think that they've got an edge over the competition. And for me, that was it. I always felt like I was one of the hardest workers out there. And then when I was competing, I was mega in the moment. So much so that, I've told the story a bunch of times, but the final round of the Masters did not look at a leaderboard. Like, I honestly believed that if I played my best golf, I would win that day. And so in my mind, the night before, I was like, well, why do I need to even look at a leaderboard if I already know that if I play my best tomorrow, I've got a 2-shot lead right now, and if I play my best golf, then I'll be fine. And so going down the back nine and you get to 18, and I can feel I made a major screw up on 16. I hit it in the water. The wind was heavy out of the left, and I was between a 7 and an 8 iron, and I decided to go with the 7 and take some off of it. And the wind was out of the left, like I said, so I'm aiming up the left edge of the green, pins in that Sunday hole location, taking a little off of it, and I just pull it. And because I'm taking some yardage off, it's flighted down a bit more, so the wind doesn't hit it, goes in the water. And so you hear the groan from the patrons and the crowd, and you make a double bogey. And even though I made a double bogey, walking off the green, I got a standing ovation, and I was like, well, that's a little weird, I must still be leading.
Maybe they can't do math.
Yeah, exactly. There's like 2 giant leaderboards down there. And so I'm walking to 17, and I'm obviously disappointed, and I'm like, but I must still be leading.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, how do I par these last 2 holes? And that was all that mattered to me at that moment. And then you pass 17, and you walk, off the back of it. It's a downhill slope, and you turn right to go to 18T, and people shouting at you, and you can hear South African accents and voices in the crowd, shouting Afrikaans sayings, language we have back home. And again, I said to myself, okay, you must at least have a 1-shot lead. So how can you make a bogey or a par here and just either win this thing or get in a playoff? And the next thought was, well, you got to hit the fairway, because 18 is so narrow. If you get it in the trees right off the tee, you'd be down there all day. And so I brought myself right back to like, just get it in the fairway. It's all that matters. Just get it in the fairway. It like consumed me in that moment. It's
amazing.
Get to the fairway, hit it on the green, turn to my caddy, and I'm like, how are we doing? And he says, oh, well, you 3 up. It's over. And I had no idea. And I actually still said to him, so wait, so I can 3-putt and win? And he said, no, you can 4-putt and win. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And so that was the first moment the whole week that I actually,
Jesus.
when
What a time to hear the
when I
news.
looked around, I saw faces for the first time. Because for the whole week, and every time I had a chance to win a tournament, which wasn't all that often, but the times that I had, I would go blank like that. I would see a leaderboard, but I would see names, I wouldn't see numbers. I would see people, I wouldn't see their faces. I was in a total trance that way, really. But that was the first moment. Once I knew that it was over, I looked up and I started actually seeing people that I recognized in the crowd and spotting my family behind the green. And that was a moment I'll never forget. To be able to enjoy that, you know.
Your caddy
if I had a
must have wanted to
one-shot
scream
lead,
at you on like after 17, a par on 17, he must be like, we're in a great shape, man. Let's go. But you setting micro goals in that moment is amazing. It's
But-
just like boiling it
yeah.
down.
So
like
going
fairway.
back to your original question,
Yeah.
is I would get
Yeah.
so deep into
Right.
that moment,
right.
and so that was
your-
my thing.
Yeah.
That was a fucking amazing story,
Thank you.
No, but that's, I mean, you were.
Maybe I'll try poetry next.
dude.
You might be
like,
top,
go back-
poetry.
top
if you
2
were
or
watching
3 on
us
the show.
YouTube. I don't think I've ever been more engaged in a conversation. Like I felt everything you were saying.
Well, because
I could
we-
feel the
Thank
wind.
I was
coming
walking
around.
with you.
Yeah, I was walking with you. That was crazy.
Well, because we've talked to a lot of players in this show, and we ask them about the leaderboard thing, and obviously it's a topic of conversation. And a lot of people will say, "Yeah, of course I look at it," like, and they'll give the reasons why, and it makes all the sense in the world. And we always think, like, what's the other side of that? And that's what it is. That's the other side of it.
What I found early in my career playing on the European Tour was when I had a chance and I would look at the leaderboard, if I was behind, I would play too aggressive and make stupid mistakes. And then that night, flying back to London, going home, and you're sitting back there and you're like, it turned out I only lost by 1 shot. And on this hole, I went at that flag when I ordinarily wouldn't. And on that hole, I was too aggressive on that 20-footer and I 3-putted. And you're like, if I had just played my normal game, I'd have won this thing.
Right.
And then there, on the flip side, you'd be when you're in the lead and you've got a 2 or 3 shot lead and you look at the leaderboard. And then I found that I started playing too defensively and I would make mistakes because I was too defensive. And so eventually I was like, screw that. I'm never looking at the thing again. I'm just going to play my game. And I believe that I've put in more or as much work than anybody here. And if I find a way to play my best, I can live with whatever happens.
I was talking with Max Homa shortly after he won at Riviera, and I remember he told me that Justin Thomas texted him before his final round at Riviera when he won and just told him, you don't have to play perfect golf to win. And he's like, that really resonated with me in a lot of the ways that you're saying now, where it's like, no, if you play your game, everyone's going to make mistakes. Nobody plays perfect golf. You'll still have a chance to win.
Yeah. So I would always try and train myself into just play the shot on its merits, whether I'm out playing with you or whether I'm playing in the Masters. Hit the shot that you know is the right shot. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of your career, if you do that every time, you're going to be better off.
How about when Tiger said that he told Charlie that the next shot is more important than breathing?
Maybe a step too far, but I get where he's going.
Listen, people wanted to say it. It might be a step too far, right? Trevor Lilliman can say that. We're all just
breathing's
like,
important. But I
Next
totally
shot's
get
more
what he's
important.
saying. I totally get what he's saying.
Right.
That was for shock value. Made him get the point.
So the Champions Dinner, you're at that every year. What's that night? Walk us through that night. What's that night like?
Yeah, it's incredible. Lasts for about 3 hours. Everybody pitches up between 6 and 6:30, grabs a drink, kind of mingles around the locker room.
Drink wise, you can order just whatever you want. Imagine. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I bet they got
It's
it.
Augusta National.
I bet they
race.
got it.
But
too.
I'm
You can
saying,
order whatever you want here.
Who's getting there after
But do they have 'em,
6:30
like-
too? If
do
the
they have
invite's
'em-
for 6, I mean, everybody's showing up at 6, or is it?
But I'm saying, do they have them like out like this, or is it the guy? Someone just comes up to you, and is like, "What's?"
There's
what would you
actually
like to drink?
there's actually a bar right outside the champions locker room.
Got you.
And so guys are, red wine is popular. A lot of guys will just be drinking a soft drink, depending on how where they're at. Some of the older guys may be going a little heavier, and so you run the full gamut there. But normally you have a cocktail or two, hang out. They'll have some hors d'oeuvres, and then everybody mingles into the dining room. Get a photo first, which is cool.
We always get excited when the photo comes out.
Yeah, photo is cool. And then you sit down. Everybody knows their spot, even though there's no...
Is that right?
Yeah, there's no named seating, but everybody knows their spot.
Where's your spot?
I'm down on... Well, when we used to do it before COVID, up in the library, which is right next to the champions locker room, it was just a long rectangular table. And so on the one side is the chairman, the defending champion, and Ben Crenshaw, who MCs the event. So I sit down on the far corner. Been there since 2010.
Okay.
Got Mickelson has come to sit next to me for the last 4 or 5 years. Adam Scott sits on the other side. Gary Player is down there. VJ sits directly across from me. He's
Now you got me ahead.
always giving me a hard time. Charles Schwartzel sits down there. Mike Weir sits down there with us.
It seems like a nice little corner down there.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And just further up on the side, so to my right is Adam. And then it normally goes like O'Meara, Tiger, then Arnie used to sit next to Tiger, and then Jack. It's just incredible. Down on the far corner, you've got
What a just fascinating dynamic.
Yeah,
the whole
that's
thing.
how Arnie used to sit.
I can listen to you talk about the layout of a table where people sit for hours. That's
Yeah.
so interesting.
But since COVID, we've switched it out because there's been more spacing. And so we've been in a bigger room with a different shaped table so that people can space out. But still, it's been myself, Phil, Mike Weir, and Adam that have kind of been down on the one corner. And it lasts a couple hours. Multiple times during the evening, I'll sit back and be like, how on earth did I get into this position? Some little kid that fell in love with the game down in South Africa and is all of a sudden here. And so that always sort of jolts me at some point during the evening. But most importantly, really, is when you start to understand so much about these different champions because you see them being kind of vulnerable at times. And particularly the guy who's the defending champion who gets up to give a speech. I mean, it's a pretty intimidating moment. When you stand up and you look down this table and it's all the guys you've ever read about, watched about, dreamt about being in the same room with, sitting right in front of you. And so it's a pretty intimidating moment. And so you get a lot of really cool, authentic moments from these champs that are extremely special.
Wow.
I got a random question. So you talked about people drinking different things,
Yeah.
depending on where they're at. Now, it's obviously dinner that's been given by the past champion. If you're in food and well-being has become such a thing for these active players that if you're a former champion still playing, does everybody eats that meal or?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
I would say most do.
Yeah.
But if somebody wants to order something else, they just say, well, I'd rather have a steak with Brussels sprouts, and that's what they get.
Wow. What do you think about that?
I've always eaten whatever the champion
Yeah, I think
serves.
that's the right play. I think that's the right play. But I will say, if you're if you're playing tomorrow and you think
Tom Brady enters that room, he's just gonna eat like the TB12 rice and beans,
Yeah.
whatever.
Bunch
the
of
fuck.
lettuce,
Yeah.
whatever they got.
Yeah, maybe. But maybe he'll just decide, I'm at the champions
I
dinner.
think you succumb there.
It's time
Yeah,
to spread.
that's how it seems like you view it. Like he won, we're gonna eat that. I think that's
There's been some amazing meals over the years. Adam Scott did a great job, and the way guys decide, in a way, it's an opportunity to not show off, but show your appreciation for the room. And so guys go out of their way to just really make it as special as possible, and the wine pairings and stuff like that.
What was yours?
For me, it had been 30 years since a South African had won. 1978 was Gary's last Masters win. So I decided to run a competition in the biggest newspaper down in South Africa.
No way.
And so people could write in and enter their idea. And so we ended up going with a meal called Bobotie, which is very popular down in Cape Town, where I'm from. And we served that with traditional South African desserts, Cook Sisters and milk tart. And then wines from the town that I grew up in.
Wow.
And it was really cool because it was kind of a cool evening, and this meal has got a little bit of like a curry taste to it, spice to
got a
it.
little kick to it.
So the guys really liked it.
Yeah.
And then a number of the players, like I vividly remember that night, Jack Nicklaus, after the meal, comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, that milk tart was awesome," because he goes to South Africa regularly and has many times throughout his career, so knows the culture and the cuisine really well. And he came up and was like, "Oh, the desserts were perfect. I haven't had it like that in a long time." And that's cool moments.
So hit me with the logistics. Like when you're having wines from your hometown and stuff, do you just tell Augusta National this is what I'm looking for and they just do it? Or do you have to like tell them how to get it? Or
No, it just gets done.
okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. You knew that was the
That's
answer.
what I thought. I just wanted to hear you say it.
Somebody's footing that bill. Somebody's making that decision.
No, the
1,000
champs pay
miles
for
away.
the champs pay for the
prior
dinner.
champ pays for it. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Champ pays.
We got a lot of DMs about if the Georgia, he's an Alabama fan over here. You're Clemson, right?
I'm Clemson guy, yeah.
What's his name? Stetson
He's,
Bennett.
he's the Georgia QB.
You think he'll just have a all-time pass to Augusta National?
I don't know. He's very popular in those
I
parts.
was gonna say maybe like one of the most popular people of all time in that state.
don't know.
He's very popular.
Really?
No, I know. Yes, I agree that
Walk
he's popular.
on, the story.
But like,
I'm just saying,
Come
if
on.
there's ever a guy to, if he doesn't get in, like,
but that's the thing. It's like, that's not enough.
What you done for me lately? Might be there.
Who knows how those decisions are made?
Like the
Does
decision.
he play golf?
I don't know.
I assume he does.
QB. Most QBs play golf.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
It's an
I would
assumption.
say historically, maybe they don't. They go against the obvious decision.
That's true. What an amazing place.
Last thing, because we've been
Best.
taking you forever. All right, we got a few folks on this show who have recently purchased homes, and we are going to protect those homes with what?
Simply Safe.
That's correct. My parents have been using that for how long were we doing this show, Trent? 5 years?
100
Yeah,
years.
they've been on that train for
They've
a long
been
time.
advertising on TV a lot lately. They have
Simply
that really
Safe?
cool commercial where the guy's wearing the
I've seen
ski
that.
mask and he rips it off and because it's one layer of protection. Then he rips off the next ski mask and he's got another layer of protection. He rips off the third one. They've got so many layers of protection at Simply Safe. You'd think that it's not simple, but it's simple. And I'm going to tell you why it's simple. You're about to read a bunch of jargon. I just ordered Simply Safe, as you did for our new houses.
As did you did.
You don't have to wire anything. It's wireless setup. And the actual alarm system, boys, is this like, it's this bowling pin type of piece of technology. And you
I hope
think
it's
like,
more sophisticated than
bro, I'm telling you, you put it on a little table right when you walk in, and it looks actually pretty cool. It looks like a cool decorative thing.
Okay.
And this thing blares when someone that's not supposed to be walking into your house walks into your house. It knows motion sensor. It hooks up to all these sensors on your doors, and it's all wireless. So
bowling pins on our team.
the dumbest person on the planet could set this up.
Yeah, you're the bowling pin.
The dumbest person on the planet could set up Simply Safe. It is actually Simply Safe.
Wow. Sounds really simple.
I'm seeing actually more and more Simply Safe signs in New Jersey. You know, they give you that sign out front
because
says
these other
like,
places-
Think that's because of our ad reads?
These other places,
I think so.
They make
Has to be.
These other places make you wire things, and you got to hire a guy, and then you got to make
Wires
sure.
are for the birds.
When I was a kid, me and my brother set off our alarm like 10 times.
Yeah,
well,
no.
you guys are a problem.
We were the bowling ball coming in, ruined the bowling ball.
And the technology is really cool. Go on simplysafe.com like I did and like look at all the videos. I actually watched a YouTube Simply Safe review. They're all amazing. They've never gotten a bad review on a YouTube video Simply Safe. And you're going to see all the cool technology on the you can get it on the iPad. It's awesome.
Simply Safe is everybody's favorite home security company, and we are no exception. Setting up technology is normally a huge hassle, as Frankie's been describing. Yep. But with Simply Safe, we had our systems set up, running, no time at all. You're going to sleep much better at night knowing your family, and you're protected much like I have with my parents. Thank you very much, Simply Safe. Hurry, take 20% off your Simply Safe system, and your first month is free when you sign up for the interactive monitoring service. Visit simplysafe.com/4play. Again, that is simplysafe.com/4play for 20% off your entire system. A little bit elephant in the room. How are you guys going to take down the U.S. team this year? And
Well, your support's going to be very helpful, Riggs. I noticed how you supported the Europeans at the
a
Ryder
couple of
Cup.
those flatbreads you gave me are sick. Those are
The logo's
cool.
insane.
Hey, I've actually got
It's really
some gear.
good.
I've got some gear for all of you. I know these guys are going to be a little tougher for them. You know,
They're
maybe
tougher
give
sell.
it to a international friend of yours or something. But
Really is a great logo.
It's a great
it's a great
logo.
logo. Yeah, man. I got to give a shout out to Ernie Els on that.
Yeah.
He did an incredible job, and
It's a little villainous.
It is.
that's
International,
exactly
but,
right.
Worldwide.
Like if those things fly,
from a different
if
galaxy.
those things fly in America this year, we have a problem with
Frankie,
American
have you
golf.
been onto our website to buy one of these hoodies yet? You really should.
Is that where we can get them?
You should, yeah.
So what's the website? Where do we go to?
It's on Fanatics. It's all through the PGA Tour. I'll send it to you so we
Okay.
can get it out.
right.
Great.
We can do that.
It's something actually that I thought was extremely important, never been done before on our team. Quite honestly, before Ernie did the logo, we just had like some random blue flag with some yellow stars on it. We didn't really even have a flag or a logo because we were just a bunch of guys from all over the world. And he decided that we needed something that we could build on. And it went so well and was accepted so well that I was like, we've got to find a way to get some merch out there and build this fan base. Because when you think of it, the countries and regions we represent, it's billions of people. So how can we find a way for, out of those billions of people, to draw the ones that play golf or like to watch golf to support our team every 2 years? How can we run this a little bit more like a sporting franchise and not just like, 12 dudes that are thrown together to play against the Americans? How can we build something that is real and lasting? And so the merch part was extremely important to me, just like the social media stuff. Like how can people find out more about Hideki or Cam Smith or any of these other youngsters we've got coming through? And so for me, that was important to try and build some kind of foundation. And then who knows where it'll be in 15 or 20 years.
It's an amazing logo.
Yeah, I remember in Australia how that was for us, and the Ryder Cup this last year may have been the only thing that's really like trumped it. But the President's Cup at Royal Melbourne, that environment there was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It
My
was
first
off
experience
the
of
charts.
team golf and seeing fans and like rooting for a team as opposed to one golfer. I've always said that that's my biggest gripe with golf is that we're just happy with whoever wins. Any given Thursday to Sunday, we're just like, yeah, I'll take whoever wins, and we'll just.
So it's
cling
cool
our
to
glass.
get behind a team every now and
Oh,
then.
it's amazing.
But to answer your question, how are we going to get it done, man? It'll be one of the biggest upsets in sports if we get it done. Particularly after the performance the Americans put on at Whistling Straits. I mean, that was dominant. It had attitude to it. They played with a chip on their shoulder. They ran the leaderboard up on Sunday. Like, there was no holds barred there. They were absolutely sending a message to everybody that, in their mind, things are going to change and they're going to win out from here on. So that collection of players that they have is extremely impressive. Best players in the world. We see that, for the most part, week in and week out. But you just never know with sports. The result's not there until it's played. And we're going to have to find a way to, in America, against the home team on their home soil, do something that's never been done before. Never beaten the American team here in the US. So it'll take something gigantic, something massively special. But who knows?
You're setting yourself up for an unreal, like when we go back, if you guys end up pulling this off.
Yeah.
I know.
Good clip.
These clips are going to be all time.
He's
You know
also
what you're
not
doing. It's
showing
a
his.
captain.
He's not showing his cards either.
No,
he's,
he's
he's just
not.
saying.
He hasn't
that
said
he's
anything.
trying
Trying to light a
something.
fire.
I wouldn't even have it
He
said
hasn't
it.
said anything. He's just being
He hasn't
really
said.
vague.
He's been very. It's been very huge and gigantic, but he hasn't said anything. But I think that's smart.
Well, I think we I think the way that I've changed the qualification criteria puts us in a position to where we're going to be able to identify the 8 best international players. You're already seeing that with where the rankings are right now. At the PGA Championship, it'll kick up and the points will multiply. And so now you're going to get the guys that have played well and played the best during the majors and the biggest tournaments. And so we feel good about the top 8 that'll get automatically qualify. You know, those should be the guys that we all expect, that we watch week in and week out. And then how good of a job can we be filling in the rest of the team, and will guys be able to step up to the plate when it matters.
This is a sore subject for Riggs, but when our buddy Kevin Kisner didn't get picked for the American team, there was a lot of discussion, Riggs being the leader of this, about him being a locker room guy. How much do you put onto that? You know, you talked a little bit about it with Hideki, but
it's big.
Yeah.
It's big. For us, it's Cam Smith and Louis Oosthuizen. Louis Oosthuizen is one of the funniest, coolest guys you could ever wish to hang around. Does not take himself seriously. He pulls people towards him. You know, he'll be singing karaoke in the bus to and from the golf course every day. And he'll dress up for half the dinners in like Halloween outfits. And so the guy just finds a way to calm everybody down and take the temperature down. So yeah, he's that guy. He's that guy. We got a lot of characters now that are starting to come through, younger guys. So yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. We cannot wait. As a kid growing up who loves sport, and when you're getting into a sport, and you decide, okay, I want to give this a shot. Like, this is what I want to do with my life. All you can ever dream of is having an opportunity to compete against the best. And that's what the opportunity these guys are going to get. Record-breaking team, the Americans, with what they just did to the European side in America. I mean, this is it. Like, if this doesn't get your juices going as a player for the international team, nothing will. This is your
we're
shot.
in the locker room right now for the international team.
Yeah.
We just got the speech.
It's going to be great.
I just got gassed up.
Risk
for the
reward
President's Cup.
course for sure. This golf course, I've done a lot of video watching leading up to this thing. As a captain, is this something you're just going to go with on the fly? Like when to take the risks, when to sit back? Like how are you going to kind of attack this golf course and be the captain? Like,
I'm not going to give you all my secrets. Frank.
You tried.
I will say though that look, the course is well known by everybody. I mean, these guys have played this course a bunch of times. I think the way they've changed the routing is going to make it even more exciting risk reward, because you're going to have, in the space of 5 or 6 holes, you're going to have 2 drivable par 4s. You're going to have 2 par 5s. And so you're going to have a lot going on even before you get to that green mile.
Yep.
So that green mile is going to play as 13, 14, 15. So yeah, there's going to be a lot going on, and it's going to be loud and rowdy. I mean, they've sold a lot of tickets already.
A lot of fans.
Well, a lot of people are going to be disappointed or because they didn't get to the Ryder Cup, or they're going to be so jacked up about how cool that was that it's like, now we have another one. We get to do this all again. Like, we get to now watch competitive international golf and team golf. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, me too.
We're gonna crush you, but I can't wait for
Right,
it.
I was gonna say you've been so nice. You've invited us into your home. I think you're about to feed us a bunch of barbecue,
That's
but
right.
we will still be rooting against you.
How's the barbecue? How's the barbecue in Orlando, Florida?
We're about to find out. I'm not sure I've eaten from this restaurant, but I trust my wife. We'll be fine.
Your wife's been incredible. I know she's been patient with us, holding you in this room forever. Yeah. She's been super hospitable, so I think it's probably time for us to
Can I finish off with this guy's poem?
Oh, yeah. Frankie's going to finish.
Just from some random guy?
So this is Sean Kilgannon. How do you pronounce the golf course name from this week?
Wait, what?
Waialae?
Waialae.
Waialae.
Okay.
Waialae Country Club.
Because that's a massive part of the first
okay.
line.
Gotcha.
A massive part of the
Pronunciation is important in poetry.
Otherwise, nothing's going to rhyme.
first stanza. Are we calling
The whole
stanzas?
poem.
Yeah.
They're stanzas, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is submitted from Sean Kilgannon on Instagram at like 2:00 in the morning.
Thank you, Sean.
Now I've seen
Well,
you,
well,
you have
well-
not replied to this person?
No.
So they have no idea this is coming.
They have no
That's
idea.
lovely.
How do you say that name again?
Why lie?
Why lie?
Jake, hit the music. It's poem time. This week's event was played at Waialae, where missing the fairway meant a bad lie. Some pros struggled to read the Bermuda. They missed the cut when fishing for barracuda. Firing in round one, Jim's play was sage. A few more aces, old Furyk may have shot his age. A flash in the pan, this form was fleeting. Give Jim a medal just for competing. Watching Matt Jones, his play so fast. If you scored on time, Kevin Na would be last. Grayson fired a tweet and started the feud. Na ended it fast. He was not in the mood. Coming down the stretch, Kiz made a splash. Another top 5, adding to his mountain of cash. Consistently great, he's the short course king, hitting tight draws with that Tillery swing. Making some
Preach. Pick
waves
it up.
was Hideki Matsuyama. With a stellar back 9, he really brought the drama. Going head to head with the leader named Russell, setting up a battle of finesse versus muscle. From 250 out, Matsuyama set up an eagle. With a shot so good that they should make it illegal. During the playoff, Henley fell apart. He was no match for Hideki's 3-wood dart.
Beautiful.
Okay.
That's awesome.
That's really well done.
It really picked up in the latter half.
You know,
That was good.
Shout out to Sean Kilgannon, and you know, we've really just inspired a new generation of poets.
Is this
Maybe
a new segment now for you guys?
I think I'm going to keep doing it.
I think it is,
It's a
yeah.
good way of recapping the weekend, and it just adds a little fun to the game. You know,
That's a keeper.
it's a keeper.
Great job, Sean.
Took a shot
We
at.
get submissions like that each week too. That was
Well, let's not put my original poem
No,
from
no,
week
no.
one just
This
out
was
the
the
fuck on the.
catalyst for
Okay,
the environment.
okay. I'm gonna keep doing original ones. I just want you all to know we did a
Make
lot
a
of
few originals
we did
and
a
get
we
more
did a
of
lot of traveling. You know, we're here eating some barbecue. I didn't have time to write a fucking poem, so Sean did one for me.
There you go.
You're not going to outsource every week.
No, I'll let you know. I'll give the credit.
Okay. All right.
What'd you think of that? That was good, right?
I thought it was good.
The Tillery one made me feel.
Oh,
good.
yeah.
That was good. I enjoyed that a
I
lot.
saw Trent kind of just shifted up in his chair.
Oh, before we really,
That's my guy.
Before we really, I'm sorry. We're about to do breaking 90 with this fella right here.
How's the bunker play?
The same.
It's I feel I'm still not comfortable in a bunker.
As a
That's
viewer of his
how I
game, I
feel.
know you've seen some stuff that we've done. You've seen him just on the internet. Is the bunker play? If let's say he just works on that, you talked about Tiger putting for fucking 2 days.
Yeah, do I just need to get lost for 2 days?
Does
in
he
a
break
bunker?
90
I
with
think
just
so.
Do I
fixing
need to
that?
go wander in the desert for 2
I
days?
think you should do that. Just get in there and figure it out.
Is that the difference?
Find your feel. Find a feel that works for you. I'd say this. Number one, just make sure the ball position is forward.
Okay.
Get the ball position forward, like on that front foot, maybe even on the front toe. Get it way forward. And then what that's going to allow you to do is it's going to give you some extra time to release the shaft, throw that club head, but also keep going with your trail shoulder. Because a lot of people, they play the ball back, and then to release it or to give it loft, then they tilt their shoulders back like that.
Yep.
And then the low point of the swing becomes very inconsistent. And so the shot becomes very inconsistent. So just go into a bunker for a while, accept that you can hit a bunch of crappy looking shots, but just keep the ball forward and you're going to find something. It's fine. You're going to find something. The most important thing is to find something you can trust.
I like that.
There's so many people visually lining themselves
Well,
up
he-
right now with the.
We all do the wrong things. I haven't chipped a good ball in 45 years. He does just walk up to the bunker because as I try and be his hype man and his just viewer. He just walks up to the bunker and he puts it right in the middle of his stance and he just hacks at it.
Yep.
And there's no thought about ball position at all. It's just let's just see if we can open this up and just try and scoop it out of here. And now if you don't put that ball in the front of your foot, I'm gonna like shoot you with like a BB gun or something.
Well, also, like anytime
Taser.
anytime
Yeah,
anybody
taser.
feels like anxious or uncertain, you're gonna kind of want to sort of crawl up into a ball a little more.
Yes.
And so that all of that goes with pushing the ball position back, which makes you're never ever going to find a great bunker player with the ball back. I mean, go look at videos of Azinger or Luke Donald or Seve, guys like that. The ball is so far forward, and they just spank that thing with the release, the hand, the shoulders covering, and that ball. That's it.
I need it. I need
All right,
work.
well, that's what we got to work on.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get lost in a bunker. I do
days.
just need to. I need to spend so much time in there because we talk about it on the show all the time. But like when you have a bunker shot and if you don't practice it, you won't have your next bunker shot until you're in another bunker, and that's not the way to do it.
Wasn't it you guys saying that if we just throw like 30 or 40 balls in a bunker in a practice range, it's more than we'll hit all year?
Think about that.
Because like average amateur players, I
think
don't
about that.
What's the
Well,
last
it's also
time
natural though to try and veer away from stuff you
Right.
struggle with. And so
I get like too embarrassed.
just go the other way for a minute. You know, accept that you're not very good at it, and go the other way and spend time and just see what happens. It's not going to get worse.
I've
I
been
will
doing
say-
the exact opposite. I've been posting absolute piss missiles off of the off the mat.
No.
Because I know I can hit them really
He's
well.
right. That's exactly right. Like I don't go to a bunker. Like if there's a bunker at a practice facility, I'm not going to do it because I'm worried everyone's going to watch me just blade bunker shots. And
We got to
kill
see a
people.
daily 9 out of a greenside bunker.
All right, we can try that. But again, it's nerve wracking. Like that's you're really
Right.
exposed.
We avoid the things we're bad at,
We do,
which is not the way to
opposite
improve.
of the practice
Right.
philosophy that
Okay, all right. I'm going to
delivers
take that into
winners.
account.
Barbecue
Champions.
time.
I think it's barbecue time. Trevor
Thanks,
Hellman,
guys.
Thank you.
Masters
Thank
champ,
you.
This was
captain. Thanks for welcoming to your home. Let's get a little dinner.
Absolutely. Thanks.
you.
Great to be with you.
Thanks. That was unbelievable.
Really
good.
Thanks.
I do put it in the middle.
That is what you do.
But
You
what
put it
they
right
do,
there.
it's
put it right there.
at the middle, and then what you do on top of that is you've said like 50,000 people have told you get your weight on your front side. So now
Big
it's
time.
middle and your weight's on your front.
Yeah.
Right.
You've got no chance.
Right.
So if you get the ball forward, now you can lean into that left leg a little bit, but the ball is still here. And now you have more time to release the club head, release the shaft.
Right.
And then, like I said, you can support. You don't just want to flip.
Yeah.
So now that you've released that, because the ball's forward, you now have space to also support that release with
Right.
your back shoulder.
Right, I'm
So you
always-
see all the best bunker players, they finish like this.
Yeah. Because on a
This has gone with it.
Right.
on a flat lie, I throw my wrists at it, but on like when it's in the bank, I know that I can just take an axe into the hill and it will
Yeah.
pop up.
Yeah.
But on flat lies, I like break I kind of just do this and I don't stay with it.
Yeah, you don't
And I
support
did
the
that
release.
today, and now I'm thinking about how it can be a little bit better.
So
Makes
try
sense.
that.
Yeah. Always
Ball
in the
has to
middle.
be forward, man. Has to be forward. Face has to be open. Because you want to use the back part of the sole and not the leading edge. So face open, ball forward.
Right.
That allows you to take
Right.
a big swing.
Right.
Allows you to get a lot of speed,
You know,
release, and
you
cover.
know, it was my favorite part of the podcast when you didn't know what the question was. And he goes, "Oh, I got it." And you go, "Yep."
Yo, someone.
You have no idea what his thought was yet. He goes, "Oh, I got it."
I lost my train of thought.